Welcome. So good to have everyone here. Laura, Liza is connecting and driving. Hi, Liza, Wilma, Jean, and here comes Leah. We're going to let her in. Leah, let's get Leah in. So good to see everyone. There we go. Welcome. Oh, we can't hear you, Leah. Nope. Can you guys hear Leah? Let's see what's going on. It's showing you're there. Oh yeah, hecklers, already hecklers this morning. Little technical difficulty, but we'll get it. And still can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes. Now you can hear me.
Yeah, now we can.
I don't know. This happened the other day too. I don't know why. So I have to wear my Solo Pros. Oh well.
Well, good. At least we can hear you now.
Yes. So I was saying hello, Cherie. So good to see you. So glad you're here, Laura. So glad to see you. Thanks so much for joining the conference. For any of those of you, Laura, I saw you and I responded. So thank you. Liza, you've been really active in the conference. So thank you so much. Wilma, I hope you'll join us. And Jean, welcome. And if you can unmute Jean, great. And if not, no worries. And be sure to use the chat, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. So we might as well start with our wins, right?
Yes, please.
So do you want to start with your win, Leah?
Yeah, that the conference hasn't killed me. That's my win.
Yay!
I just, yeah, I'm so overwhelmed, but that's okay. It's going to be an incredible event, and I'm so excited. And we have so many great speakers, and I'm really excited for everybody to hear what they have to say, because whether you can listen to it right there, you know, during lifetime, because they're all recorded, or if you have to go back, just be sure to go back. They're not that long. They're only like 30 minutes maximum, and they're just so informative. And David Michi is, you know, the author of The Dalai Lama's Cat. He's such an amazing man, and he shares a really powerful mantra by the Green Tara, and it's such an incredible mantra. And he shares this beautiful story about when he used it with this lioness and a cat joint. And so it's just such a moving situation. Everybody who shares just shares some incredible information, and it's just been a beautiful experience. So yeah. And my win is that, sorry, I went longer. I did a TED Talk, you guys, but I tell you not to do, I just did it. Don't follow me. Listen to what I say, not what I do.
And because it's a conference, Wilma asked what time it started, and I believe that you can access them throughout the day. You just go into the app, you know, to the conference and then to the schedule, right?
But it starts at 8:50 on
8:50?
Friday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 8:50 in the morning.
So there you go. Pacific time, right?
Yep, Pacific time.
And
that's your time.
Yeah, Pacific time. So if you're East Coast, it would be at 11:50. If you're Central, it would be at 10:50. If you're Mountain, it would be at 9:50.
So 11:50 would be
East Coast.
Yeah, I know, because we're an hour and a half. Like, let's say like Montreal right now.
Oh, right. I see.
1:30.
It's 1:30.
We're an hour and a half. We're an hour and a half difference from Montreal.
Okay. So what time is it right there for you right now?
3:05.
3:05. So then it would be at 3:05. It would be at 1. No, it would be at 12. if it's 3:05 now,
It's
and it's
10:35
now.
here.
No, I know. So if you minus 2 hours, that
Yeah.
would be 1:35. So like 1:45 in there, somewhere in there.
But I bet you can
1:30,
Google it and just compare the times and it'll
Yeah.
get you right to the time, Wilma. So, all right.
Okay, because it says that. Okay.
Well, let's talk about that at the end, Wilma.
Yeah,
Let's
we
get
can talk
everybody,
about
let's
that.
do our
So
wins.
we
and
want to
then
hear
we'll go-
everybody's wins. So Leah's win is that she's still alive. The conference hasn't killed her. Yay. I'm going to share a win that I acted on inspiration and I saw results. And so I'm very excited about that. So Charisse, do you want to share a win?
Yeah, I could. I'll really truncate it just because I think this is so incredible. We have a routine, my husband and I, we meditate every morning. We're doing it for years to a certain app. And it's, different talks and things, but a certain specific app. And we have one cat that comes in every time. We call her Buddha Cat. And she just like comes in, she meditates with us. She got out and she's 4 years old and we could not find her, and it was snowing and raining. It was 2.5 hours of us searching and doing everything possible to call her and try to find her. And finally we heard her and she still wouldn't come out. It was like 15, 20 minutes. I said, you know what? I know they get freaked out. They can maybe not even understand voices. I'm going to turn on this app. And she came out right to the door and wanted to go in.
Huge win. Yay.
Meditation, whatever way we use it or do it, it really does resonate with them. And that made
I love that.
That's excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Wilma, do you have a win for the week you want to share?
Yes, I stay calm, cool, and collect.
Excellent. That is a win. Sometimes that can be a big win. All right, Liza, can you join us? I know you're in the car.
Yep. Yeah, I'm at where I have to be when we're done with this. I just was trying to save time today and get to where I needed to be. Yes, this morning, I was struggling last week to create recurring events on Facebook. It was not working for me for the life of me. And I figured it out this morning.
Yay.
Yay, excellent. That feels good, doesn't it? When you get that
Totally.
technology figured out.
That and I got the photo, the photo that you put for what do you call it? Your cover photo. Couldn't get that figured out. Used Canva, figured it out.
Yay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
thank you.
Good job, Liza. And Laura.
Well, this morning I just got back from doing a photo shoot or kind of a photo shoot for the event I'm doing. And I got really excited because I didn't even realize that the studio that I'm doing it at is basically a greenhouse. And so I am excited to see if anybody comes and does vibrational sound with me in a greenhouse.
Oh,
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So I'm
Yay.
just waiting to see, but I'm excited that I got it done.
I'm very excited for you. That's a big one. Yay. Big
Yay.
win.
Yes,
Okay.
very big win. And Jean, I don't know if you can share a win, if you can come on. If not, that's okay. Or maybe you can put it in the chat and we can share it. And if not, okay.
Oh,
that's
she doesn't
fine.
have really. Well, and Jean, you're new to this. And so what we do every week is we share a small win. So what that means is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a big win. It could be a very small win. Just, like me, I survived my conference. But so each week we do that because it helps bring the energy up of the meeting and it helps us all get excited. And it helps us realize that we do have something to celebrate, which keeps our good mood with us. So that's kind of why we do it. It's just a great way to start the meeting.
And that way we can support each other and cheer
Yep.
each other on. And that's important. So
Absolutely.
that's okay. So this week, our topic is what to do when the animals say no. And I think we've probably all experienced that, even if it isn't in Reiki. I mean, if you have like especially dogs or cats, especially cats, right, at home, they often tell us no. My guys, if they, it's like, come on inside. And they're like, no, I want to go over here. And or they, oh, now I have to go to the bathroom, and they do this fake stuff, So we get told no by animals. But I think when we're doing it with animal Reiki session, we sometimes take it personally, but it's not uncommon for animals. If we think about the animals in our everyday life, they do tell us no sometimes, right? I got one in the morning. He doesn't always like to eat. And so I'll be like, if he goes right on the couch and he's not in the kitchen, then it's like, are you going to eat today? Because I don't want to, put it out in the dish and set it down if you're not going to eat. And because sometimes he says no. And I've had to learn to look at no's in Reiki the same way I do looking at it like when he doesn't want to eat, he just doesn't feel like it. And any leader in the animal world, if there's an animal who's a leader, when you have a group of animals, if one of them doesn't want to do something, they don't necessarily charge after them and try to, oh, come on. And they don't worry about it. Like, oh, why aren't they doing this? Am I not a good leader? They just go about their business and being present and doing what they have to do. And when Oscar doesn't want to eat, I don't get all worried about it. It's like, okay, he's going to eat tonight. He doesn't feel like eating breakfast. Okay, he's telling me I'm not hungry. So why would I try to force that on him? And the same thing can be true when we're in an animal Reiki session. It's learning, I think, not to humanize that no and taking it so personal because it's Reiki and automatically assuming you're doing something wrong. And Leah, do you have any thoughts on that? Oh, Mel's joining us. I'll let her in.
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends on what we're talking about, right? So if we're talking about in the context of Reiki, honestly, I really have never received much of a no. And the reason for that being is that when we go to sit with an animal, it's not, as long as I am not in this, oh, I need to fix you, I'm here to do something, the animal is usually like, yeah, let's do this. Or if they are nervous and I back up a little, they show me, like, especially with horses, and Laura, you were saying about how your horses know, when we were at Remus, we were with these halflings, these little gypsy horses, and they're like bigger than ponies, but they're halfling horses, so they're all wild, they've never been ridden, and they have a different perspective on when people come into their pasture. And so we came into the pasture like with the other horses, and we're like, oh, you do Reiki, right? Blah, blah, blah. We all get lined up. The lead horse is like, no, you're not going to do this, I'm going to tell you what to do. And she put her ears back and came towards us until we backed up. And the further back we got, the more her ears started to come up. And then when her ears were up, she's like, okay, you're fine. And I moved. So it was a no at first, but it was a no you're in my house now, right? And so I'm going to show you, this isn't a no, this is if you're going to be here, you have to be respectful of what's happening here. And I think that that's really what happens a lot of times. If you're getting no's, we're not being respectful of what's happening at that moment. So if you're in a shelter and the dog is panting and frantic and you feel like, oh, maybe they're getting nervous because I'm here, just back up a little, turn to the side, go maybe to where they can't see you, and then do your session. Because a lot of times it's just us imposing ourselves. Hey, we're here to do something really good, really great. You're going to love it. And it's like, I always equate it to, if you're sitting at your desk and you're working or you're just relaxing and someone comes up, oh, I'm going to give you a massage. Oh, it's going to be great. You're going to love it. And you're like, I don't want a massage right now. And you'd have to like sit there and go, yeah, no. And that's kind of the same with animals. We think that we know best, but we don't. And it's our egos. So if we can just go back to what we always say is just, be the sun, just shine your light with no expectation, and also pay attention to what their body language is telling you, then you won't really get a no. Now I know with Wilma, you're a dog groomer, so you might get a no when you start to like chant or do something like that, and that's okay. So maybe you just chant in your head. We just always want to be really respectful, especially when an animal is under our control, that we're not imposing, oh, I'm going to do hands-on with you, or oh, I'm going to, here, let's focus on what's wrong, or oh, I'm going to do some chanting and you're going to love this. No, we have to just go inward and just focus on what's happening with ourselves, because what's most important when we're sitting with an animal is letting go of our own anger and our own worry, and being in a humble and grateful space, because our anger is perceived by them just as anger. Doesn't matter if we're angry at somebody else, it's anger, and that's a really negative emotion. If we're worried, that worry, even if we're worried about ourselves, we're not even worried about the animal. We just come in to go sit down and I'm worried about my taxes or whatever it is I'm worried about. And I sit down with that animal, that energy of worry is what that animal is feeling. But if I can let everything go through practicing the precepts and then go in and just be this beautiful, loving light and say, I'm so excited to be here with you. This is such a beautiful experience, you know, to be here. And I would love to sit. And if you're okay with that, great. And if not, you know, I'll sit further, whatever that is. But we always let them choose. And in that choice, there's power in that choice, just like with the horses, the halflings. There's power in that choice to say, get back, and to have that choice respected. Because it's really, once we respect that, it's why it's so powerful when you say to an animal, I'm going to sit with you. You can take whatever you want or nothing at all. And the minute you say that, the minute it shifts the energy between you and that animal, now you're on equal. Now it's like, oh, I have choice. I remember my mom has a cat, Charlie, and Charlie hates everybody. He only likes my mom. He doesn't go up to anybody. He'll kind of come out if I'm there. But, you know, I've only met him a couple times. So the first time I was there taking care of my mom, we didn't really have any interaction. The second time I went to stay with my mom, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let him know I don't want anything out of you. So I was sitting on the floor. She was sitting on the floor. We were watching TV and he was over with her. And he was kind of coming up to smell me. And I reached out and of course he freaked out. So I just in my head said, Charlie, I don't want anything from you. I'm just going to sit here. If you want to come to me, great. If you don't, no big deal. And he came up to me. And from then on, like I go over there, you know, and then my mom thought, well, that's a fluke. So because he kept like rubbing against me. And then he was my best friend for the rest of that duration. Then she goes, that was a fluke. The next time you come, he's not going to do that. The next time I came into her bedroom because she was recovering from surgery. And he jumped up on the bed and started purring and rubbing, wanted me to pet him. And she's like, I do not believe this. But it's the choice. I gave Charlie the choice. I said, I don't want anything from you. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to accept me. It's not up for me to decide whether I want to accept you. And there is so much power in that. So that's really, for me, with the Let Animals Lead method, we don't get no's. Not like I've read, you know, I've taken other animal Reiki classes and I've read what they've written. Oh, if the animal starts hissing at you, barking at you, growling at you, you know, get back. And it's like, what? Why would they ever do that to you? Because we're not forcing anything. So we don't get no's. We get maybe, you know, get back. Let's see how this goes. I don't know what you're offering. But I think it's really important in the context of animal Reiki and a no, that we really look at the situation. How are we approaching the animal? And then from that space, is it really a no? Or is it more a, hey, you just need to get back? You're kind of encroaching on my space, because really that's what it is more than anything.
And I've gotten some not nows with the horses, like out at Wendy's, with one or two of them. They'll be like, yeah, I'm going out to the back pasture and, you know, I really don't have time for you today. And then the next time there they are. So sometimes I get a not now.
Yeah. And so Jean is asking, how will you know if an animal doesn't want it? Well, there's agitation. And in the shelter, I say that, I mean, if they're already agitated when you walk up, that's not really an agitation towards you. That's an agitation that they're in the shelter. But if they're peaceful and you walk up and they start acting agitated, then that would be a no. If you are in the cattery and you want to be offering Reiki to cats and there's cats that hiss or whatever, you know, that's a no. If the cats get like balled up or their eyes get really big, you know, if they feel stressed, that's a no. If they're sick, and they can't move, yet their eyes get really big, you know, that might be a no. So you would just get back, but different animals say different nose different ways. Horses are very clear in their nose. They put their ears back, they'll cock their back leg like they're going to kick you. That's a clear get out, especially if they're in a stall. You have to be very careful because that makes them feel really confined. Any animal that's in a stall, you want to make sure that you're outside, maybe like 6 feet away, and just with your side turns, you don't want to corner them. Because you could get nosed that way if your approach with an animal that's in a stall or a cage and somehow, you don't want them to feel like you're trapping them in with your energy, because our energy is big. We may not feel it, but our energy is big and we're coming at them. Hey, I'm gonna help you. You know, it's like, bah. And so we have to be really careful with that. But I think that there can be some very clear no's, growling, snarling. That's a very clear no. I mean, I've worked with aggressive dogs and I've never gotten that, but you know, I've been studying this since 2007. So I have never done animal Reiki outside of this. And so I learned very early on with the precepts. And for me, I think that also what helped me was I had a hard time meditating. So I was always in the precepts. So I wasn't even focusing on the animal most of the time when I was very first starting out. I was just focusing on the precepts and keeping my mind going like this and keeping my energy inward. So I never really was like, oh, I'm going to try to heal you, because we had to focus on really staying in that space of meditation. And the only way I could do it was with the precepts. So I've never really gotten any no's. And I don't know, Jamie, if you want to share, if you have.
You know, I have, but again, most of I got to know before let animals lead with my dog. And I didn't know that I had done everything wrong at the time, because I just immediately put hands on her because she was a Jack Russell, so that they're not usually still. And what I didn't realize is, I mean, she just immediately, as soon as I touched her, she jumped down, she went across the room and she glared at me. And I'm like, well, this doesn't work, you know? And so if I would sit and meditate, what I didn't realize, she was getting up on the couch, but she was at the far end of the couch. So she was participating. It's not that she was saying no to, you know, the Reiki session. She was saying no to me touching her and not asking permission, and, you know, all those things I did wrong. And so, but she would join when I was just meditating and wasn't even trying to offer it to her, but she was up there participating with it. Jean asked if a no means that her energy or something is wrong with her to be rejected. Oh, and you put that in, good.
Yeah, and then I
No.
just said it just depends on I don't know what the circumstances are when she's getting a no.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's why practice is so important, why we ask the animals to help us, because these are the kind of things we learn with practice. Every animal responds differently. Their nose will be different. It may be, you know, just like this big horse out at Wendy's, that it just kind of looked at me, the ears were back. I mean, there was no tension that I was there. It was just, no, I'm really not in the mood today. I'm going to go out in the pasture and graze, and you guys do what you're going to do. And I felt no tension. He wasn't panicked that I was there. Didn't take that personally, because the next time, you know, he was right out there, and it's like, oh yeah, today's a good day. I think I'll take some of this. And so we have to learn to read their language and understand what they're saying. And the only way we can do that, I mean, we can talk about it till the cows come home, but the only way to really do that is to sit with the animals and ask for their help and be observant and watch. And so, you know, my nose, you know, that was a clear no, was Zuby, and I was doing it wrong. And other times I just get, just not right now. And if I do see an animal is stressed, I back up, you know, just like Leah said, you know, it's like, okay, obviously I'm too close, or there's something going on. Who knows? You know, we don't know what some of these animals have been through. Maybe you have a hat on. that freaks the animal out, right? I mean, there's so many little things that we don't even think about that the animals pick up on, and that is a language for them. If they've been abused by someone who always wore a hat, and you walk up and you have a hat and you can't connect, well, it has nothing to do with them saying no to your energy. It's that there's some kind of trauma that's being triggered because of that. So all these little things that we have to think about as we approach it that could be affecting whether or not the animal says yes or no. And again, we learn by doing. Definitely. And let's see. So I don't know if we'd like to open it up.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mel's got her hand up. Good.
Hello.
Hi.
So I agree with that too. It's just, like my mom's dog, she was very, very anxious around people, and she would always bark, and she would never go near anybody. And when I started working with her, I would just sit and she would come over. But even now, if I go to my mom's house, I don't go up to her because she'll bark and she'll back off, because it's her territory and it's fine. But as soon as I stop moving, as soon as I sit down, she comes right over and she won't leave my side the whole time, because I'm giving her, like, I know this is how she reacts. So I don't go any further and be like, oh, come here. I'm like, okay, Lily, fine. I'll go sit over here. As soon as I squat, sit down, anything, she comes over and she won't leave my side the whole time. And my mom is like, this is incredible, because she's now doing this with other people as well. Because my mom has a business in the house, so she has a lot of people coming in. But it is that choice that we give the animals which makes a big difference. So I love this. This is a great topic today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mel. That's such a great point, that the choice that we give the animals, how powerful is that? And that's not something animals get a lot of from humans. And so that in itself makes what we do so special. And the animals recognize that, they recognize that they're being given a choice. And sometimes, maybe they're just like, well, let's see what kind of choice I have. But a lot of times when you just give them the choice, then it's like, oh, okay, then you gave me the choice, so I'm going to come participate, when maybe they wouldn't have. So Laura, you had your hand up too. What say you, Laura?
So when it comes to my horse, specifically, I think that with him, he just has certain times where he's just like accepting of something and not accepting. Because and also the first time I tried to do any sort of energy work with him, it was because I used human Reiki, which I also used on my dog, and she liked it. When I tried it on him, he was like, no, thank you. It was almost like he was like, I'm doing the healing for you. You don't do the healing for me right now. So he kind of and it was kind of turned around, and he was like, you need some healing, so you need to be here, so I'm sending you the energy, and you're not sending me healing right now. So I've had that with him. The other thing he has done, we have this relationship that's been building over time, but he likes to, when he likes something, he likes to try to stick your eye in his nose. So he'll just like stick his nostril over your eye and then start rubbing his face on your face. So if I started chanting with him and he was like, this is the best, I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to stick my face on your face and stick you in my nose. So what was I going to say about that? He's kind of like a yes and no horse sometimes, but he's such a baby that he's like, I'll do it later, or I do it not now or something. And then he's like, I'm going to go play. So
I love that too, because, you know, with our own animals, it's different, right? Our own animals know us. They know we come from a really loving place. And, you know, you did remind me, Laura, because when I was learning this, I had a Shar Pei, and I thought, oh, you know, he's going to love this. And he was like, no. And I know that Kathleen, when Dakota was dying, he did that to her too. It was like, no, get away from me with your Reiki. But then when I would lay in bed and do the self-treatment at night, he would come and lay his whole body up against me. So Bruce would. So it's really, it's just a reminder. They're such great teachers, right? Go inward, go inward, go inward. And that's really where that power lies. So next time when you're with him, I'd love to hear, like, if you just go out and meditate for yourself, just ignore him completely, see what happens. No, not the chanting, because obviously he loves the chanting, which is really funny because I'll share a short story from Remus. The first time that we did chanting, so Remus is a huge property. I mean, it's acres and acres. They have 200 animals, and the horses have humongous pastures. And so, I mean, they're at least 100 yards across some of these pastures. So we were walk around the property, and we started to do the chanting, which Chokurei is O-U-A-E. So it's O-U-A-E, and we're chanting as we're walking. And the horses were way across on the other side of the pasture, and they lifted up their heads and they came running over. And it was funny because before the fence, about 5 feet before the fence, it was like they hit a wall, and they went, and they just slammed on the brakes, and they just stood there, and they were just like listening, and they just kind of slowly walked with us and listening. And it was just for them, I don't know what it was, but there was something in it. It wasn't like they were annoyed by it. They were just interested by it, you know, the energy. And one time there was a snake at the zoo, a big anaconda. And my friend Lindsay and I were just slowly under our breath, just chanting. And the snakes at CARE do this. He started to go up the wall, and like, so he was like an L up the wall. And we're just like, okay, but the snakes that CARE do that against the glass. When we chant in the room, they go up. So he was feeling that vibration. So it's really interesting how animals respond to the chanting. That's just kind of a side note. So for those of you who do the chanting, do practice it, because maybe you'll get, I don't really like that. I did get a no on my Say Hey Ki chant, but I know exactly why I did, because I don't resonate with it. And this dog was jumping on me when I was teaching a class, like telling me to stop. So I did stop because I wasn't in tune with it. I wasn't feeling right with it. And so my energy was off, and my energy was off. The dog was like, you are not teaching this. Stop, stop. It started like bite at me. And so I was like, okay. But he loved Chokurei and he loved Honshu Shonen because I was in alignment with those, right? Those are my jam. But Say Hey Ki, I'm like,
Yeah, that's funny. Because when I first got Sophie, she was young, and I had been chanting every morning, and I started. And as soon as I did, she came up and she would bite my nose. She was like trying to play, I think, you know, just like, and so I quit for a while. Now I can, but it's just funny how they react, definitely. So Charisse or Liza, who would anybody like to share their thoughts on nose? Liza, yeah, go ahead, and then we'll get to Charisse.
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Mhm.
can.
It's harder on this little phone.
I know it is.
So when I very first started doing animal Reiki, I first started after taking my first class with Kathleen. This is back, it was either at the end of 2008 or the beginning of 2009, something like that. I had a friend that I was working with, and I was like, hey, can I come practice with your dog? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I went over. She had this little French bulldog, and she lived in a small little apartment. And I sat on the floor a little ways away from him. I don't, 5-10 feet. I don't know. He was across the room. And he immediately peed on the floor. And I was like, she's like, oh no, he's never done that. I'm like, oh no, man, I need to like check myself. And then he came over and started humping me. And I was like, oh, maybe I just need to not do this. And she's like, well, maybe you try something. I don't know. Maybe just try a little bit longer. And so then I'm like, I'm just going to, because normally I want to be on like the same level, right? With a dog, cats, smaller animals. But I decided to sit up on she had a bar stool, and I just sat up on that bar stool and crossed my legs so they weren't even down dangling up, near the floor. And he eventually settled down. But that's the only time I've ever really experienced a hard no, it felt like at first. But then when I just readjusted, he seemed to be okay with it. But at first I was like, oh my goodness. I called Kathleen about it later too, and she's like, you did the right thing. That was good.
Absolutely, yeah. And that just reminds us, sometimes we need to adjust our approach, right? He
Right.
was letting I mean, maybe he's just like, oh, she's down here, I want to play, she's at my level. That's usually what it means for my guys. If you get down on the floor, forget it.
Yeah.
So, and that was great, that we just need to listen to the animals and adjust our approach accordingly. Yeah.
And sometimes they pee because they get really relaxed. Sometimes they pee because that's just who they are. They're nervous. I mean, but when you're first doing it, I'm sure that was really scary.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, I suck at this.
That's so funny.
That is fun.
We all go through that when we
We
first
do.
start learning
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a desert tortoise poop in my lap, so she got nice and relaxed. Charisse, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much, it's sort of a Reiki, or we have a dog at the shelter, highly reactive. Unfortunately, he's our lifer. He's bitten a number of people, and there's only one person who can actually even go in his cage, and he's friendly with that one person. And I've known him for 5 years, and I feed him and whatever, we let him out, I feed him, comes in. But one thing he always lets me do that he doesn't let anybody else do, we don't know why, is he'll let me feed him his pills at night from my hand. I just open up his cage and reach in. And sometimes it's a yes, and sometimes it's a no. Sometimes I'll open up and he will, like, he's gonna eat you. And he's always barking and reactive, but he's like, I just not gonna do it, toss it on the bed like everybody else does. And other times, and so every time I come in now, because I'm there 6 years, his name's Chipper. I've been doing the Reiki practice. And so I come in and I have it on my hand, but I ask him silently each time. And I've noticed more and more often now, I'm able to give it to him. The answer is a yes. Sometimes it's still a no, and where, I laugh and toss it on the bed, but more often than not. And I think the issue, it isn't even just, it's that I'm centering in, I'm not asking anything of him, but I think it's that permission. It's not me talking to him verbally, oh, do you want this, Chipper? You don't have to take it now. Or, it's not even a movement. It's that he knows somehow that I really have let go of whatever outcome. And it's been very interesting. He and I have a very interesting relationship. But I can't touch him. I can't change I cannot go in that cage except to open the door to give him his medicine at night. It's very strange.
Well,
and nobody else
he has standards.
Yeah, he's, like I say, he's bitten a number of people, and he's highly, highly reactive. Sad story is when his best friend Max passed away, they were the only two that could be together. He had a friend at the shelter, and Max passed, and we had him stay in the shelter when Max was passing. And he, for the first time in like 5 years, I heard him quiet. He laid down and he just said he was just for like 2 hours, completely quiet. It was very, very sad and interesting.
Yep. They just,
Well, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, they just pick up on the energy of us. They know what our intentions are more so. They're just so much better at reading people than we are reading them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What were you
I
saying?
think what I was going to say is just that it's nice that they give him these choices. They don't force things on him, and I think that helps empower him as well. Which is nice that he, they don't try to have somebody else give him his pills when he doesn't like that. You do it. He has his little routine, and I think that's really nice, because if he has to be there, at least there is some structure there.
Yep, absolutely. And this must be a no-kill shelter then.
It is, it is. And yeah, we've a couple who are, you know, lifers. We have some cats there who have been there from the time they were kittens. They're like 18 now. But they're in the cattery and this is their home. I mean, each one of them are very, very loved. Like this, it would be cruel to adopt them out. This is their home. Although not everybody in the community sees it that way. There's a lot of, you know, people get upset about that. We've had one lady came in and she only wanted this one cat, Hobbs, who had been there, you know, he's been there his whole life and his brother is there. And, you know, we said, no, he's, you know, 16, he's got health issues. This is his home. It would be traumatizing to him to leave. But she wrote all kinds of things about the shelter and that we were discriminatory and, you know, that we don't really want to help the animals. And you just have to know the animals, you know, especially with cats. I think that would be really traumatic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's lucky he's where he is.
Yeah,
Definitely,
very lucky.
yes.
Chipper is my greatest teacher because of his behavior.
Mhm.
And because of, you know, after so many years and so many people have been there for like, you know, 12 years, whatever. I mean, the people who are there, the ones that he allows to interact and the way he does it, it's very humbling. You have nothing else you can do but be humble. I actually did get bitten by Chipper, and I've never been bitten before by an animal. But we didn't know that I didn't know he was out in the yard. Somebody had let him out and I was outside and another dog was out there and the other dog knows me and came lunging at me and jumping on me. Chipper came flying out of I don't know where and, you know, bit me on the leg. And I wasn't upset because I knew this wasn't his fault. So I mean, I was like startled, but I just, you know, like I got him back, corralled him back into his pen. And it was a bad bite, but it was fine. And then the next day when I came in, he was really barking and cowering and like, but the energy had changed. It was like I can't explain it. It's like he knew something had changed between us and he wasn't sure how I would be. And I was fine. And we went back to our routine and we laughed and like we've come back to, and people didn't think like he would do that again. But I think he just got, I don't think he was protecting me from the other dog. I think he just was, maybe he thought I was hurting the other dog. You know, I really don't know, but I didn't feel it was intentional. But like I say, he is my greatest teacher and he's my only wound. He's my war wound, so I remember that now.
Right. I love that you said it's humbling because really this puts us in our practice, you know, the precepts to be humble. We have to be humble enough to realize that we're the students with the animals. We are learning. They all react different. Every situation is going to be different, even with the same animal. You know, it won't look the same. And we have to just get our ego out of the way, be humble enough to admit that, you know, we're learning in this process and the animals know so much more about our behavior. They can read us so much better than we can read them. And it's a learning process. The animals are teaching us and we just need to be humble and quiet and observant, you know, and try to learn from them. What are they telling us with this behavior? Mel, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I think when you have multiple animals, you can, the differences are more obvious and you can learn that because then you know not every animal is different. I mean, I have 3 cats. You know, there are 3 different age ranges. There's 3 different breeds. 2 of them are boys, one's a girl, but they all react differently to it. So I have to adjust myself every time when I work on a specific one, or if I just do self Reiki, if I just do it myself, my girl cat, as soon as I sit down, she will run over and she's all about that. Or even at night, she will like, is it time? Is it time? Because she loves doing energy work. She just loves having the energy flow. And it's like, she's literally licking it off my hands. As if I'm like, I wonder if it tastes like something. I wonder if the energy has a flavor, you know, because she loves to lick it off my hands. My boy Dusty, he is all about the meditation, no touching. He loves to sit in my lap, and we have this great energy exchange. And he sends me the same amount of energy as I'm sending him. We're doing it together. And Rusty, he's the oldest, but he just loves to sit in my lap, and he just rubs against my hands. He craves that touch. So they're all different. And I never force it on them, but as soon as I sit in specific spots, that's when they come.
Mhm.
And then it's like they know exactly, it's time. And it's very educational. They teach me a lot because there are 3 different personalities, and they have it's a big learning experience. So if you just have one animal, you just you would know only about that. But having all 3 of them, it's great to have that diversity, to be better at what I'm doing to help animals on a broader spectrum, because they teach me different ways of communicating with not communicating, but doing the Reiki, like working with animals and stuff. They teach me because they're, again, different. They're all different.
Right.
So
Do you think that makes it easier when you go out to work with animals you don't know then?
I do, only because I know that not all animals are the same. They don't accept it the same. They don't want it the same. They don't need it the same. And I know that if an animal is standoffish, like, or just needs it far away, just at the meditation part of it, because they don't like to be touched, or they don't know me, then it's just going within, like you said, just doing and just focusing on the energy itself. And then it's different. Then they'll sit closer, or they start to relax. And others just literally just want to be touched. And it's like, I'm like, okay. And the chanting part of it, none of my cats like chanting. None of them like it. I figured I'd try the different symbols on either, like I have 3 cats. I have 3 to try out. None of them like the chants. So we don't chant in my house.
Love it.
I
Thank
will say, I want to say something really quickly about that. Cats are very different. And, David Michi, the author of the Dalai Lama's Cat, is one of our speakers at the conference. And he doesn't really talk about, the difference with cats, I don't think, in his speech. Maybe he said a little something, but in his book, he does. And, they're very different beings, and they process things differently. And there is even talk about, there's a study that just came out that they see in a different dimension, like they're coming from a different dimension than we are. So, there could be some reasons for that. And yeah, I think it's really interesting. But I love that, Mel, because it's another reminder that all animals are different. And we really have to be mindful when we're sitting with them, what we're offering and how it's being received. Because again, we don't want to miss a no or a not right now. And so Laura says, my cat begs for Reiki water. One is my meditation cat, all 6 of the poem. I love that so much. Thank you, Laura. Cherise.
Yeah, I have, and we could do this another time because I've taken up a lot of time, but I have a question. I don't know if maybe you can help me with. There is a dog at the shelter, and I'm pretty open to, as you can see, they can bite me and I come back. So I'm very non-judgmental. And I'm pretty good at all their different personalities and getting that. But there is one dog there that I can't resonate with. I don't know what it is. It's something that, and I can't even pick out behaviorally what he's doing or anything. I do all my analytics on what it is. Other people can go in his cage, other people can't. He is unpredictable, but that's never bothered me before. And yet there is something that, you ever meet a person that you just can't quite get with? And so even when I'm outside his cage and I just want to center and try to do the Reiki, I feel so inauthentic that it's just not working. And I'm not sure, is that coming from him? Is that coming from me? Is it something that you have a suggestion I can try? Because I feel badly to prejudge him.
I wouldn't judge it. I would say that, maybe this just isn't I wouldn't force it. I mean, if you're feeling that, he's feeling that, I wouldn't force it. I would just say, yeah, I would just send him love, maybe do, a distant session, just send love, because that's really what it comes down to. We're just sending love. We're not doing anything. And I think that that's where this Reiki business gets really, really convoluted, because it's like, oh, we need to be doing all this stuff. And no, it's letting go and just being love. That's it. That is literally it. Yet we want to complicate it. We want to make it like, oh, I'm supposed to be this special light, or I do all this practice, but really it's our own stuff too. And it could be something that he picks up from you. It could be something that you pick up from him that isn't, it might be triggering for whatever reason. It's just like certain people will trigger you. It could be that. And so I would say just respect that, leave the dog alone, always send love, always be like, I love you. I'm so happy to be walking past you, whatever that is, but always sending love so that judgment starts to fade away.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. That's true. And that's what I do, I give him, I walk by and I do whatever I would do, but there's this stutter step that, but yeah.
And maybe just ignore him for a while and let him have his space, because maybe it's too much. Maybe it's just like, I don't want, like, kind of like with Charlie Cat, right? Once I said, you know what, Charlie, when you're ready, you just give me a sign. And he did immediately. So you can say that to him. You go, you know what, I love you. I'm not going to bother you anymore. So you just give me a sign when you're ready to be open to me. And I think that would be really powerful for that dog.
Yeah, I'll try it. It's a trust. Like, I don't trust him, even when he looks friendly, like, and he comes over. There's something I don't trust.
Well, yeah, and then that sounds like it's maybe then that's more you than him, right? So paying attention to that and just going, you know what, I love you, but I'm going to just stay a distance, and I respect you, and and that's it. But don't force it.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, though. That's really important, because I know Jean is new to Animal Reiki, and so can I ask, when you mentioned chanting? So we do it. You do it out loud to practice, but you could do it in your heart, in your head, when you're out with the animals. So we do. If you don't know because not very many people know the Reiki chants, because they're not actually Reiki chants at all. It's just primordial sound. It's something that Chris Marsh created, and Chris Marsh died not too long ago. But anyway, it's just Chokurei is O-U-A-E, Seiheki is A-E-A-Ki, so A-E-A-Ki, and Honshaze Shonen is O-A-Z-O-Nen, so O-A-Z-O-Nen. Yeah.
Yep. And you can do those silently in your heart, in your mind. You can do it out loud. You can do it softly. Just another way to connect with them. All right, so we're now at 11:24. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add very quickly? So Jean had another question. How should we approach an animal to get a higher percentage of getting a yes? Thank you. I would say forget about getting the yes, because when you're focused on getting a yes, you're not going inward. So I wouldn't approach an animal with, I want to get a yes. I would just approach an animal and invite them to share my space if they want, and then go inward. I would worry about, if I'm going to worry about anything, it wouldn't be a yes. It would be keeping my focus inward, not getting distracted, right? I want to go inward. And so again, we get kind of caught up on that, I think, with our ego and with just some of the human stuff. We want a yes so bad. We want to see them respond. But we need to just let go, just let go of that and just go inward. That's when you get the most yeses anyway.
Mm-hmm. And I think that just, when we say go inward and all this, really all it is, Jean, is just focusing on love. So just going inside and just focusing on that feeling of love, or focusing on your breath, just breathing in slowly, pull that breath down into your belly or into your heart, and then slowly, slowly releasing the breath. And when we focus on that breath, we slow our mind, we calm our body, and that is the energy the animals are picking up on. It's not that they're picking up on, I'm a healer, I have this magical energy. They're picking up on our calmness, our peacefulness, and our love. And that's really what it comes down to. So, you know, it is a whole lot simpler than, but people like lots of steps.
Yes.
They want to make it difficult.
Laura, you raised your hand real quick.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, somehow that just kind of brought me back to working in a cat shelter. I was a volunteer as a basically cat cleaning person, but I also did like socializing. And one of the things that happened was one of the cats that was just really kind of more on the, what is the word? She was aggressive towards everybody except for certain people. And I was one of her people that she liked. And what I did was I just sat in the room and she would let me know when she wanted to be with me. So I didn't do anything. I just sat. And that's what I did whenever I was around any cat or animal. You just sit. And that makes me think of Reiki, how you can just sit. And then if they approach you, then that's when they want Reiki or something. That kind of just came to me when I was thinking about it. I wasn't doing Reiki, but the animal saw I was calm and she decided that I was her person and that I was the person to do the patting and all the stuff.
Oh.
So like, I'm going to say I was her servant.
They definitely see our light. You know, we need to remember that they see our light. All right. So we'd like to do, it's 11:27, but we'd like to do a quick meditation. If it goes a little longer and you need to leave, feel free to do that. Leah, would you like to do it, or would you like to just kind of get some meditation in? Because I know it's been a crazy time.
Actually, I have to leave.
Oh, she has to leave.
I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, I can't stay late. I've actually got an 11:30, so I have to leave. But thank you all so much. I hope to see you all at the conference. If you have any issues, you can email me. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. We have 1,500 people coming, so you can imagine it is quite crazy. And we are shorthanded. So if you don't hear from me right away, just give me some time and I will get back to you. At the shelter email, at my personal email, whichever email you have for me is totally fine. Go ahead. You can also get a hold of me through the app too, on Whova. So I think there's like 4 Leah D'Ambrosios. They're all me. They were having a problem getting me set up as an organizer. I mean, I am an organizer, but it's a long thing. We have the animal, we actually are giving away a free gift at the Animal Bonds booth. We're giving away the Introduction to Animal Reiki webinar for free, which is normally $49. So if you want to take advantage of that, you should. But there's also some really wonderful meetups that are going to be happening. I'm going to do a meetup. I think Jamie's going to do a meetup. We're going to do a live in our booth. We have a live going on in the Shelter Animal Reiki Association booth. And there's lots of different prizes and contests going on. So make sure you sign up. You don't have to be there during the whole day. You can come in and out, however, it's open 24 hours. You can see it online, Wilma. It's either, you can access it either through your computer, through your tablet, or through your phone. They're all, yeah, you can do it any way you want. So it's a really fun way. I don't like accessing it through my phone. I can't stand that because I hate typing through my phone. So I'm always on the computer, but oh, you're going to be grooming. But then again, Wilma, don't worry. You can interact later. You don't have to do it. This isn't it's a live event, yes, but it's not. All of the speaker interviews are pre-recorded. So once that time for that speaker happens, you can watch it. You can't jump ahead and watch, but you can, if it's past, you can watch it. You can also interact in the community group at any time. It could be midnight your time and you can interact, okay? So this is a really open, it's kind of more like your time and it's a great format. You have to watch the replay by, midnight on February 5th, midnight Pacific time on February 5th. Otherwise, you have to pay for the recordings. So there's plenty of time to watch all of them. And again, it's only 30-minute recording. So it's like 2.5 hours each day and sometimes less than that. We're going to do a live session on Saturday with a lot of the speakers, and we're going to do a live Q&A. So you also want to check. So anyway, yeah, gotta go. Late. Bye guys. Thank you so much. Bye, Jamie. Thank you.
All right, and we're gonna, so it is right at, it's 11:31, but we can do a quick meditation. It'll probably have to be quick because everybody's getting wild here, so I apologize if we get interrupted. So let's just make sure we're comfortable and close our eyes. And let's just start with a couple of deep breaths in and out. Just take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, release any stress or tension. Notice any tension in your body, where it might be. Take another breath in. And just notice any tension and then release it back out. And let's just go ahead and go into Gasso. Set our intention to go inward, become still, and to share our light today. And then you can place your hands in your lap if you like. You can leave them in Gasso, whatever's comfortable. And begin to breathe into your hara. So take a breath and pull it all the way down to your belly, where it ignites the light, that divine light that is inside of you. And then as you exhale, feel this light pull up to your body and go out through your skin and your hands into the space around you. Take another breath in, pulling it all the way down to the belly, igniting that light, and exhaling this light back out into the space around you. Take another deep breath in, pulling it down to the hara. And now this light is just glowing bright, and it's filling your entire body as you exhale it out back to the heavens. Take another breath in. Now every cell is glistening. Your entire body is illuminated. And then exhale this light out towards the heavens. And let's do 2 more where we breathe in deep, ignite that light, and then we just expand that light out as we exhale. 1 more breath in, really igniting that light now, so bright. And we expand it out even further back to the heavens. And now let your breath find a natural rhythm. And your entire body, you're just a being of light now. This light radiates out to infinity. There's no beginning, no end. You are a divine light of consciousness. The consciousness that creates all worlds. And now you can bring to mind an intention to invite whatever animal, whatever person, whoever needs to step into this beautiful light that's shining outward. Invite them in. Maybe it's an animal you know. Maybe it's one you don't. Maybe it's several. Maybe it's a person. Whoever needs the light, invite them in. And now you can place your hands over your heart if you like, and feel that heart center growing with love, the energy of love and compassion. And maybe your hands get warm, but you can tell there's so much love and compassion that you feel for those who have joined you. Just allow this love to flow outward to them. And just feel how it lifts you up, how it connects you. This beautiful energy of love and compassion. Who we truly are, our true self, is shining out to their true self. And just exchange this beautiful, loving energy. And know that you can keep this feeling inside your heart today as you go about your humanly business. Intend to keep love and compassion in your heart today. Now go ahead and put your hands in Gaso. Thank whoever joined you for sharing love and compassion with you and reminding you to carry this with you today. Then when you're ready, take a deep cleansing breath. Pull it all the way down to the belly. Release. Become aware of where you're sitting, of your body. And then when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. So thank you, everyone. I hope that you have a very blessed, loving, compassionate day today, everywhere you go. Be the light. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you at the conference. Oh, good. I'm glad, Wilma. Bye, guys. Thank you again.